Right from training camp, he just fit in. Style of play, utility. We've used him all over left, center, and right. And then he's a player. You know, when you come into the league, it comes in. They all come in as skilled guys, and then some guys can make that transition to kind of more grit, more determination, and depending on sometimes the opportunity they get. I think every place that he's played, people like him, but here he just fits with what we need. We've got an unusual team in that our third line center is a really good player. So if you're playing in the 3-hole on some teams, it's not even. It's a better way to put it. Like our third, Anton Lundell can make plays, and you're not biding time till you get your first and second line back out in the ice. So he's got this nice hybrid in his game. He can make plays. He's got a little bit of hands around the net, and then the rest of it is just his dog on a bone, and that makes him fit with whomever we play. So he's just become it was a great signing for him and for us. It was the perfect place for him to go. Make sure he's not playing in the minors and to get an opportunity to show what he can do. And he's made the most of it. Good on him. Worked his butt off in training camp and hasn't stopped.
You've been on both sides of these things. What's it like coaching a team where you're adding at the trade deadline?
Yeah.
You've been on the selling side, but
yeah. If you
we don't know what's going to happen, but we could add this, that.
You spend enough time, you get the whole spectrum, right? You're on teams that are unloading good players at the end, or you're in the start of a rebuild. Some people that are really important. There are tense rooms over the next couple of days. Then there's a bunch of teams holding their breath, and that slides into ours too, because nobody wants to leave here, right? They're not looking for a better opportunity, but sometimes you have to pay a price for good players, so some players have to depart. It's pretty quiet. It's pretty relaxed in our room because so many of we call them the Florida Panthers, the guys who've been here a while, are either critical pieces to what's happening today, or the contracts say they're not going anywhere. So we don't have the same kind of, with Seth comes in, and everybody knows after that there's not another Seth coming in. There's not another elite guy coming in. So pretty quiet today for us. It'll be a reasonable. I mean, I say that, and you don't know what Bill's going to pull out of his hat. He's done it before, so. But probably pretty quiet from here on out.
You're adding an experienced backup
goalie
now. What's the plan with Driggs, or I mean?
Yeah, well, we won't carry 3.
You will carry 3.
We will not carry 3.
You will not. Okay.
We won't carry 3. I think Vanek's, I don't know, 92 and 50 or 90. He's got good numbers. Yeah. He's a good player. And we have a heavy schedule, so it's actually good because we can bring a guy in who's got NHL experience, and we're going to need to play him some games to make sure Sergei's numbers are at the right level, and we need to win those games. So we needed a guy that can come in and stop the puck.
And is this, I know this is more of a question for Bill, but is this a look toward the future? Maybe see what he's got. Maybe it's keep. I don't know. Keep him, or just right now it's just he's here. He's the backup.
Yeah, the future of the Florida Panthers is Sergei Bobrovsky. This guy's in his prime. I mean, maybe we look at his age, that's fine, but he's in his prime right now. He's playing the best hockey he's ever played. Feels good. So I don't think we're looking too far down the road, but we're also not saying nobody expires here at a certain date. Sergei's playing in his prime. He can play another 5 years if he wants.
Well, what do you notice about him? And maybe you're in the same boat. After Winnipeg, you were kind of recharged to get this Florida job, but you get all these guys, and for whatever reason, it may not be working in their current situation. Then they come here. What do you notice about them? Is the key just being in a better culture around better players?
Better players is the start. So we'll just go back to Sam Bennett, because Sam was floundering a little bit, kind of third and fourth line and on the wing before he came here, and he preceded me. So when I got here, and a completely different player, and asked him, he said, well, I came in and I played with Jonathan Huberdeau. So that's one. And he got to go back to kind of how he came into the league as a center iceman, viewing the game differently. When you get to a deeper hockey team, when you come in and join a deeper hockey team, it is a different game that's played. So we are very defensive first oriented, but not in terms of how we view the game when we touch the puck. We're trying to score goals. So you can play the game a little differently. And then I think for some of the guys who are more established, if we take a player, let's say like Seth Jones off a team, it's on him, at what he makes at his experience level. He's a captain, he's the defenseman. The pressure is heavily on his shoulders every single night. And if you got a young team, that can be a challenge. He's going to walk into this room and just spread it around. So that pressure comes off them to be a difference maker. They can just play the game, just go play. I think they enjoy that.
We just spoke to Mackey Samuskevich, and he touched on just how he feels like how his confidence has grown a lot. What stands out to you in that regard, just how confident he's become?
How he earned it. So that confidence concept is really important, but it's earned. You get a guy that gets hot and he scores a bunch of goals and you say he's really confident. That's a bit ephemeral. It's as soon as the puck starts hitting the outside of the point, you lose your confidence, and then all of a sudden the streakiness of players comes into effect. He's built his game around the puck going in the net or not. So whether it goes in or not, the rest of his game is good. So he should be confident in that, and that's what I'm confident in his play without the puck. I said from the start, his hands aren't a concern of ours. You can see it the first day he hit the ice or development camp. Oh, man, this kid's got some hands. He can shoot the puck. He can pass the puck. That's there. There's a learning curve to the National Hockey League, and there's a learning curve with our team to come in and play a certain style of hockey. He's been really good at that, ahead of the curve from where I thought he would be. So I guess I would say I'm hopeful that he sees it the same way I did. He should be confident right now, and it's all the hard things that he's doing is where his confidence, the source of his confidence.
So you gave all the Four Nations guys the
Yeah.
day off. I mean, how big is it for them to get that?
Well, they haven't had 2 days off in Florida. I believe since in January. We played every second night. They got on a plane. They went and played at the Four Nations. They came back. The Canadian guys flew, played the next day, and then we gave them the next day off, but they were on a plane to Nashville the next. So we haven't had this. We need to keep them off the ice. 2 more blocks at the end of March. We're going to do this exact same thing. They're not behind it by any means. I just want to give them a chance to recover a little bit. So we've worked hard. It's not related to how many games we've played over the last 2 years. It's specifically related to this schedule from our going back to November. I believe Sam Reinhart's played more hockey games than anybody else in the NHL since 2021. They don't need to practice today, so it's good that we were able to give them a little bit of rest.
Especially with the 2-week road trip coming up.
Yeah, there's a 3-day block, which is highly unusual. I believe we're going to come home because of it. And then we have a 4-day block in the week after. Would have loved to have traded those to get rid of the April that we're going to face. But we're gonna take maximum advantage of that rest for these guys, and then April will play as much hockey as they've ever played in 2 weeks.
Any other questions?
All right then.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, Paul,